Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris, and I'm dialing in from Johannesburg, South Africa. And the training tonight is all on communication, effective communication. And in the house tonight, we have Wilson Fury dialing in from Pretoria, South Africa, tonight on the 11th of July. Can you believe we are officially halfway through the year? How insane is that? Where did this year just go?
When we
Insane.
look again, it's Christmas.
Tell me about it. So, yeah, without any further ado, we're going to jump straight in. I just want to quickly welcome Wilson onto the silver screen this evening. Wilson and I, we've known each other for a good couple of years. And Wilson is one of the first people that joined me on this exciting LifeWave journey. When I went to go see Wilson, and yeah, I showed him a patch, and he said to me, "What is that little sticker you've got in your hand? Are you absolutely crazy?" I'll never
Literally,
forget that day.
that was my response. I kind of laughed at you. I was like, buddy, what you on about? It's a little patch. And look at where we are now, 18 months later. It's absolutely
Completely. Oh, completely, completely. No, we're changing people's lives one patch at a time, and just looking what this beautiful product is doing for people. And it's our job. I feel Wilson and I, we spoke quite a bit on Saturday. We presented together, and we were having quite a deep talk about communication in general, because what we've got in our hands at the moment here is life or death. This is the importance of what we have in our hands. We could potentially be saving people's lives. And it's up to us as brand partners to share LifeWave with other people. But where does it all start? Because a lot of people have got a stumbling block where I get messages saying, "Chris, I'm new. I've just started. I'm excited. I love what I see here, but I don't know what to say to people. I don't know how to start the conversation." I think that's the first hurdle to get over. And then after you started conversation, then you kind of like flow with it, which is what Wilson is going to talk about now. But I think it's just that initial getting out the starting block and just saying something to somebody. So yeah, I think jump straight in there, Wilson. Let's chat on the beginning
Yes,
part.
you know that on the head there. I think, there's so much I could say on this subject. We've got so much information that we want to share with people. And there is so much that we can share. And I think many people make that mistake to kind of vomit information onto people, and just throw a whole bunch of stuff at people. And the quickest way to lose somebody is when you do that. And the idea with tonight's call is to give you the tools to try and get people excited enough to either come onto a three-way call with your upline or invite them onto a call where they can come see the bigger picture. Because we've got these incredible meetings happening every night, and people will make a decision about this after they've got all the info. And when you get started with this, you can't try and bring that message across just as getting started. So there was having a serving mentality. You know, it's very important. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel when an insurance company phones you and tries to sell you insurance? I can tell you the look on my face just drops. The moment this guy gets me on the line, I have this like, oh, come on. Like, are you trying to sell me something? And on a good day, that guy doesn't get many words in. And I just hang up the phone. And we all pretty much have that energy when people try and come across as trying to sell us something. I love buying shoes, for example. It's something that I love doing, but I've got big feet and I can't ever find the size that I'm looking for. So I would walk into the sports scene. I've got money in my pocket to buy shoes, but the moment the guy comes up to me and he feels like he wants to assist me, I'm like, no, I'm just looking. And this is the difference between selling and serving. And that for me is very, very important. Now, The next part of my meeting, now I'll share this meeting with you guys. I'll share that little video and you can watch it in your own time. I think because of the Zoom and me trying to play it, it didn't like the sound of it because it was a live recording. But the second most important part of the process is, how do we chat to people about this? And for me personally, it starts with three fundamental questions that we ask just to open the door and have a conversation. Chris, how many people try and get your attention? How many? It must be
You,
every week.
oh,
It
completely,
must be
yes.
every
Yeah.
week people are trying to get your attention. Are
Hmm.
they asking you how you're doing?
Nope. Nope.
Exactly.
Or when they do, you can hear they've read it off a script like a parrot. And I kind of go, really? Oh my goodness. And when people change their personality, when they're talking to somebody, they go into what you call sales mode. That's the
Yeah,
worst thing anybody could ever do. You've just got to
yeah,
be natural and be yourself. And when you're sharing LifeWave, you've got to
yeah.
do it as if you are just talking about general stuff that you would normally talk about, the same tone, the same everything. Don't shift, don't change. Just do it
Yeah.
in your stride, so to speak.
I absolutely love that. It's so important. I mean, there's a couple points that I want to make here. Firstly, I know that it's not easy for everybody to pick up the phone and just phone people. And what you can maybe do just to kick that door open is just start phoning a couple of your friends up and ask them these three questions. How are you doing? And then keep quiet when you ask it and listen to how's it going. Because if it's not going well, they'll tell you. Or if they've got a pain or they're sick, they'll tell you. Or if they're not enjoying work, they'll tell you. And guess what? This little patch is the solution. And this is the most important part. And that could very quickly kick open the door of you just starting to communicate with people. For me and Chris, to quickly phone somebody up and talk to them about this is natural. Why? Because we've been doing it for 18 months. But just getting into a habit, asking three important questions. How are you doing? Is everybody healthy? How's your health doing? And how's it going at your work or business? That for me is three fundamental door openers to start communicating with people. This is not a sales process. It's so different to anything else I've done. Yeah, we're offering a solution to a problem somebody might have. And the beauty about LifeWave is it could be physical, it could be mental, it could be financial. I mean, this just covers all the bases of any problem a person could have. And by just getting good at asking how you're doing, how is everybody's health, how's it going at work, you will get an opportunity. Let's say you phone 10 of your friends, not talking about LifeWave, just asking those three questions. Out of the 10 calls, there's going to be an opportunity where you can say, oh my goodness, it's not coincidence that I phoned you. Because if you're dealing with arthritis in your hand, for example, I think I've got something that you need to have a look at. And that's where the actual sale happens in this process. Once you can identify a problem and then offer a solution, then the sale is conducted. We're not closing people here. This is not a normal closing process. Yeah, we want to speak to people properly. Yeah, exactly how is it going? And if you're new to doing that, grab a pen and piece of paper, make some notes, and see exactly what's going on at work, how's it going at home, where they are. Some of these people you haven't spoken to in a long time, it might be a good idea just to catch up with a couple people. What do you think there, Chris? You know, I think for you and I, it's very easy to engage with people, but the goal with this meeting is to help people that it's not common knowledge just to quickly pick up the phone and start phoning people.
Well, you know what? You hit the nail on the head there. When you talk about the word questions, questions is the
Yeah,
most important thing because you cannot give a person a solution if you don't know what the problem is. You know, you walk into a hardware store, you're not buying a drill bit. You know what you're buying?
yeah,
You're buying a hole in the wall. You're buying a hole in the wall. You're buying the solution. And we're very too quickly want to start getting talking, and we start talking about the scientific and the facts and science and da da da. And exactly what you said in the beginning, people end up puking on people, and it's information overload. And all it is about is piquing a person's interest, getting a person's attention. I
Yeah.
spoke about this quite a while back, over a year ago, the AIDA funnel. Now, AIDA is a sales concept that was around in the 1970s. It's the most simple thing I've ever seen in my life. It's spelled AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action. And you can't like go talking to a person, what do you think? Let's sign up. Here's my link. You're going to go, and people are going to go, sorry, what? What are you talking about? Information overload. And I'm very big into that concept called drip feeding. I've spoken about this before. You go into a hospital and they've got this drip going into your vein. If they take that bag and they squeeze that whole bag going into your veins in 5 minutes, guess what? It's going to kill you. You will actually die. That's why you see the nurse with that little regulator, and you see they regulate the drips coming into the tube going into your body, and that takes 4 to 6 hours for that drip to go into the body. And that's where the concept drip feeding comes in, where you're giving people little bite-sized chunks of information. So my thing is, I'm going to tell you a story of somebody I met. It was end of last year. It was end of last year. We had a physical presentation, and we were sitting having coffee, and the lady said, no, she invited like, I think, 40 people, and not one person replied back to her. Nobody pitched or anything. And I thought, hang on a second, 40 is a big number to have no reply at all. So I thought something doesn't sound right here. It just doesn't sound right, because when we work on the law of averages and statistics, if you do X, Y, and Z, there's a certain percentage of people interacting with you. But this was zero. So I thought there's something definitely wrong. So I thought, let me jump in and have a look. So I said to her, all right, I want to see what you sent to people. So she said, okay. I said, please give me your phone. So she gave me her phone, and I had a look, and she sent the invite. And I said, okay. I said, is that all you sent? She said, yes. I said, all right. Then what I did was I scrolled up and I had a look. The last conversation that this lady had with her friend on the phone was 13 months ago. Because I could see on WhatsApp, you can see the last date of communication. So I knew exactly what the problem was. I said to her, you forgot something. She said, what did I forget? I said, you forgot to say hello. And she went, huh? I said, you didn't say hello. How are you doing? Wilson, imagine this. You and I have been friends for years, okay? Imagine if I send you an invitation to a physical meeting. Now, we haven't spoken for 13 months, okay? And I send
Yeah.
you an invite. You're gonna ignore me flat, because we're friends. Interact first. Hey, Wilson, how you doing, my bud? We haven't spoken for 13 months. How's your family? How's your job? How's the kids? How's everything going?
Exactly.
Interact.
Yes.
Interact first. Oh, my word. And I said, did you do this with all 40 of those people? And she nodded her head and said, Chris, I messed up. You know what I said to her? Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I had to be direct. You got to be direct. Yes, she
Yeah.
messed up. She
Chris,
said,
I just want to add something there before I lose track of it. So
mm-hmm.
this is a very important point. I was at a meeting in Bedford View, not Bedford View, in Bryanston, and met an amazing guy there. And we connected, and at the end of it, he came to me. He's like, I'm not getting any traction. And I was like, okay, what are you doing? And he was sending out messages to people, but like, I think he sent out 200 messages and he didn't get one reply. And he
Oh,
did exactly the same thing. And I took him aside and I was like, understand one thing. Um, if you look at the communication part of it, first prize is pick the phone up and phone someone. You want to have a direct conversation with someone. Yes, there is a shortcut. You can use voice notes if you're too busy. I'll post the training that I've done on that. But first prize is phoning someone up. And I said to him, what conversion rate do you think you would have had on sending that information if you phoned all 200 people? And he kind of looked at me and he was like, you're right. And this is the most important part. I always like to tell this story. There's a guy I used to listen to, Jake Ducey. He tells the story of a guy taking out a girl out on a first date. And this guy's coming across as he wants to get married and he wants 2.5 kids and the white picket fence. And that's how he's coming across. What's going to happen with that girl sitting opposite of him? She's going to go into the bathroom, climb out the window, and you'll never see her again. And I think we kind of do the same thing when we try and explain life with, because there's just so much good stuff we can share. But because we like so over eager, we lose people in the process because you literally start going from a place of serving to a place of selling, and people pick that up. The moment you start pushing, people pull away. And the goal is to offer a solution to someone. So I just wanted to add that. I think many people are doing that. They sending a message without saying hello, without building rapport, without asking them where they've been in the 13 months since we last spoke. I mean, that's the first thing that I'll look at when I look at sending a message to someone.
Mm.
When last did I speak to them? And then I want to fill in the gap. What's happened? Hey, sorry, we haven't spoken in a while. Let's connect. And that for me is the first part.
It's quite interesting. Two days ago, the old MD for the company I used to work for many, many years ago, he popped into my mind on Monday, and I sent him a message on Tuesday, and I just said to him, "You popped into my mind. We haven't spoken for ages. How have you been keeping?" There we go. He came back saying, "Chris, oh my goodness gracious, wow. It's so nice to hear from you. Haven't spoken to you in ages." Yeah, I've been in Cape Town for the last year and a half. I've got a transfer down here. And then he replied back to me saying, "What have you been up to with your life?" Guess what? He now gave me permission to tell him what I'm doing with my life because he asked me, what am I doing in my life? So can you see the difference there? Push versus pull. Push versus
Yeah.
pull. All I did was
Yeah.
ask, how are you? He came back
Yeah.
to me, how are you doing? What have you been up to? Now, when I tell him, it's not going to come across sales-ish because he asked me a direct question. What have I been up to? I'm not going to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, I'm doing nothing. I'm just sitting bored at home." I'm going to tell him what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I replied back to him on voice note. And I said to him, "Oh, wow, the last 18 months, I've been waking up people's dormant stem cells." And I said, "I've been busy with this for the last 18 months, absolutely loving it." And I left it at that. He messaged me at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, a voice note, 15-second voice note. He goes, "Waking up stem cells. Sorry, Chris, you're doing what? Please tell me more about what you're busy doing." Then I sent him the 3-minute, what do you call it, clip, that like intro one that we use in our presentation. And I sent him, this is at info.com. And I sent him the video clip of Popluck, the little dog, that 2-minute clip, one of my favorites. So how
Yeah.
hard was that? That was
Yeah.
so. Can you see how natural this happened? I wasn't selling him. I wasn't puking on him. You, as
Yeah.
Onyx Cole talks about, we're dancing with somebody, and you've got to get into the rhythm. This is a dance. You got to see it as a dance. You move, this one moves. You move, this one moves. But do it naturally. Don't try and overspeed up the process, because we
Yeah.
try and get to the finish line too quickly. So what we've got to understand is, guys, we're not running a sprint race. We're running a marathon here. And there's a concept called slow down to speed up. I want you guys to write that down. Slow down to speed up. So you're probably thinking, "Chris, but that sounds like a complete contradiction. What do you mean slow down to speed up?" Slow down to speed up. So in other words, don't try and send 30 video clips in 1 week. Don't do it. Rather, bide your time and send information every 4 or 5 days, or as they're coming back to you. Take your time. Take your time with it. Have you ever noticed
That's
when you...
something I want to add that, Chris.
Mhm.
There's people that I've been getting into my network and I've only been sending them something once a month.
There
One
you
of the
go.
people, one of the people that
Exactly.
I've been sending information to for 18 months. Once a
18.
month, 18 months, I sent him the best testimony of the month every month. I must be honest, if I think back now, I think I should have sent him at least one every 2 weeks. But bottom line is, I just drip feeded him something every month and I kept consistent. Last month he phoned me out of the blue. He's like, "Oh, remember those patches? Cool. I want to sign up." He came in at gold and he's pulled the trigger. And some of the people, it's going to take 18 months. I mean, personally, I'm looking for the red tomato that when I tell him, listen, yeah, I found a product that can activate your stem cells naturally, he signs up immediately. And that does happen. On that note, I ask people, how did you get involved in LifeWave? Like, what did the person say? And it was the most interesting thing when I asked David Hawes, what did Desiree say to you for you to sign up? And it was incredible. He couldn't remember properly, but it was something as simple as, I found this patch that can wake up your stem cells without drugs and medication, and he was in. I mean, he didn't see a presentation. She didn't have to say anything else. That's the concept of a red tomato. But my friend that came in 18 months later was a green tomato. He became red over time because I've been drip feeding him these testimonies. And he's the perfect guy. I mean, there's a reason I kept nagging at him because I know if he comes into the business, he's going to make magic. And I just also wanted to share that.
I love what you also said there. Somebody also asked me the other day, you know, also, I'm new in the business and I don't know what to say to people. I said, who signed you up? And they say, oh, X, Y, and Z. Why don't you go back and see what they said to you to get you excited enough to join? And they were like, I never thought about that. So whatever got their attention could get the other person's attention. But we got to realize as well that everybody's hot buttons are different. And I'm so glad you brought up the green tomatoes and red tomatoes, because that's what we're doing. We are in the sorting business. We're in the sorting business. And everybody is in a different cycle. I mean, if you look at a cycle, what is a cycle? It's a 90-day period. Now, in 90 days, every 4 months, we've got 4 seasons. So there's 4 seasons per year: winter, autumn, summer, and spring. And everybody, when you're talking to them, are in a different season. So I might be talking to you today and you are in your winter. You're in your winter season. So that doesn't mean, there's a saying in this industry: no does not mean no. All it means is not right now. And it goes back to what Wilson said. If a tomato is green, don't pick it. Guys, don't pick it. You know why? You can end up destroying that tomato and the tomato goes rotten. Once the tomato is rotten, then you're done. So rather push that tomato back and let it grow some more, like your tomato that took 18 months to go from green to red. And that goes right back to the concept of slow down to speed up. Guys, have you noticed when you are in a rush? Now, all of a sudden, you've been taking too long drinking that coffee, and you know you've got an appointment at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you look at your clock and you go, oh my goodness gracious, I haven't showered yet, haven't done anything. Now you go from having time to running late. And guess what happens? Now you just, oh, I was going to sneeze. That went away. You start trying to do things too quickly. Have you ever noticed when you try to do things too quickly, now that you're in a rush, you're busy walking into the bathroom and your shirt catches the door, and all of a sudden you're stuck and you've just ripped your hole in your shirt. And you're like, my goodness. And you get into this shower door and your door jams. Now everything is going even slower. And then you go and you knock over the milk, and then
Yeah.
you do this.
And then you kick your little toe.
You kick your little toe, don't even go there. And everything compounds. But if you just took a breath and went, okay, I'm running late, let's deal with it. Go slow at your normal pace, and all these funny things aren't going to happen. And you end up
Yeah.
actually becoming even more late because you go into panic mode. So
Yeah.
don't go into panic mode. Just take a deep breath, step back, and just let everything flow naturally. So it's very similar to what's happening in the business, you know?
Yeah, I absolutely love that, Chris. Now that you on that note, I want to touch a little bit about posture as well,
Mm-hmm.
because I wish you guys could be a fly on the wall when Chris speaks to a new client. I wish you could be a fly on the wall when Sandy Feast speaks to a new client. We have built a posture working with this product that you cannot match other than putting in time. The only reason why I could get a neurologist in front of Chris, and Chris could have a proper conversation with him and get him excited about this is because we've seen what this is doing for people with brain conditions. And it becomes to develop a posture takes time. And how do you develop a posture? By being plugged in, by coming to these meetings, by coming to these trainings, by raising your belief level to a level that you can put any person in front of you and very quickly get them to get excited about what we're doing. There's an intoxication that happens when Chris speaks to people over the phone. They hear how excited he is about it. They can hear these incredible stories of what he's seen. And without even doing a presentation or get people into a Zoom, Chris has the ability to actually get a person to want to buy these products before even getting them into a call. And that took time. Now, the whole idea that I have with this call is to see if we can speed that up a little bit and just get you to start thinking differently with how you're going to approach this, because selling it is not the answer. You're going to keep hitting a wall, and people are going to pick up that you're trying to sell them something and it doesn't work. So posture for me is a very big thing, and get plugged in. The more you work with this, the more people you patch, the more you see what it does for people, the more your posture and belief level rises. And when you look again, you where we are 18 months later, and we're so excited about this that we bubble for 20 hours a day and speak to people over the phone, and everybody loves it. And that unfortunately takes time. Now, on that very note, a very good friend of mine, Robert Burns, is a very, very well-known network marketer. And something I'm applying within my team is before you want to now try and explain this to people, get good at one thing: inviting people onto a three-way call or a Zoom call. You can develop this skill by asking those three questions. How are you doing? How's your health? How's it going at work? Creating a one-liner, and I'm going to share one or two with you to get people excited to either get them onto a call with your leader or plug them into a Zoom call where they can see the bigger picture. And that takes the pressure off you completely to try and explain all of this. And you will learn posture within that process. Because if somebody asks you, what is it? You can tell them very quickly. We found this incredible technology. We're seeing emotional health transformations, and it screams opportunity because no one knows about it. I need you to introduce you to my friend. You need to come see what we are doing. And you can literally be good at one thing to be successful, yeah. And that's getting people into three-way calls or onto Zoom meetings. And just by getting good at planting the seed and getting people to come see the bigger picture, you could get a lot of traction, yeah. And I'd love you to also elaborate on that, Chris. Like, your process is a bit different than mine. So nothing's set in stone. I mean, I found what's working for me, but hopefully this is helping everybody.
You know, there's a saying that says you cannot say enough of the right things to the wrong person, and you cannot
Yeah.
say enough of the wrong things to the right person. So at the end of the day, it's all about timing. I've had it where I've explained everything to somebody on a table with little sugars at a restaurant table, showing how the binary works. And they said, I love it. I'm in. How do I sign up? On the phone there and then they signed up, and I explained the binary with little sugars. Then you can get another person to this professional presentation where it's an auditorium. It's got all the screens up. You've got Tony Robbins himself presenting, and the person goes, no, this is not for me. So it just shows you. But
I absolutely love that.
with me personally, what I do is I like to strike up the conversation with a WhatsApp, because WhatsApp for South Africans is the main way that we communicate. I learned about voice notes from my kids 3 years ago. My kids taught me, because I still used to do good old texts, and my kids used to laugh at me and go, Dad, are you like still texting all those people? Do voice notes. And I was like, what? My kids taught me. Now I've become, people know me as the voice note king. Anybody wants to talk to me, the only way you're able to talk to me is by a voice note. Because what I find is people hear your voice, they hear your excitement, they feel your excitement. And I feel like you can get a lot more done in a shorter time frame. So that is your starting point to get onto the call. So you might be thinking, I'm a bit scared to get onto a call because, do you know why? Take a guess why a person's scared of making the call, Wilson. Take a guess. In case,
Confidence is a big thing because they don't want rejection. They
correct,
don't like a no. Like people don't
correct,
like to hear no's.
or they scared that a person is going to ask them a question that they're not able to answer.
Yes.
That's why you do a three-way call. So basically, what you want to do is pique a person's attention. That's the AIDA, attention. You just want to get a person's attention and just feel the temperature zone. Where are they at? And just poke that lion and see if it growls back. You know what I'm saying? And then from
Yeah.
there, you let it kind of unfold. And I'm like the drip feed king. I love it. I just drip feed, drip feed, drip feed. They don't know where we at. Now it's ready for a call. Now it's ready for a call.
Yeah.
Then we can have a chat. Getting onto a three-way call, guys. Three-way calls are so beyond powerful. I was on a three-way call on Tuesday with somebody in the team that phoned me up or sent me a message saying, Chris, there's this guy, he's got what do you call it? Colon cancer. He's battling with this. He's in his mid-70s and he needs to get on the product. But this guy's so skeptical and I don't know how to answer him. I don't know what to say. He said, here's his number. Can you phone him? I said, excuse me? I'm not just going to phone anybody. No, it doesn't work like that. I said, you arrange a three-way call, speak to your person, and we set up a schedule, a time. And then you phone him, you phone me, you add him onto the three-way call. Because what's the use of him giving me this person's number? I phone this guy out the blue. He doesn't know me from a bar of soap. And I'm going to be talking to a stranger on somebody else's behalf. Doesn't work like that. You know what? There's a reason why I don't work in the corporate structure and I don't have a boss. Nobody's going to say, here's my name list, phone for me. Doesn't work like that. You'll do it together.
Yes.
And I said, come, let's get on the three-way call together. We were on the call for 25 minutes. The man went from as skeptical as anything, saying, this is a pyramid scheme, this is a Ponzi, this is that, network marketing doesn't work, da 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 da. And I just said to him, do you know the difference between these things? He goes, what do you mean? I said, you don't really know. And all I did was ask him questions. He answered. I gave him the answer, asked him another question, gave him another answer. He goes, Chris, I didn't know that. I was talking out of assumption, and I apologize for coming across so abrupt to you. You educated me. I didn't know this about this industry. Totally. It's just people are just not in the know. So they're very quickly to make a comment based on lack of education. That's all it is. And that's what we're here to do. Is just educate people, hear them where they're at. because that's the most important thing. And the person I was on the call from sent me a voice note afterwards and said, Chris, I've learned so many lessons from you. You kept quiet. All you did was ask questions. That's all you did. And then all you did was gave testimonies.
Yeah.
I asked him questions and I gave him testimony, then another testimony, then another testimony. He's signing up at Gold and he's coming to the meeting in Centurion on Saturday. So we're
Nice.
going
I,
to,
I, I can't wait to meet him.
yeah, yeah. So Ondine asked, what questions did you ask? Very good question there, Ondine. So when he said to me, what do you call it? This is a pyramid scheme and it's a Ponzi scheme. And I said to him, do you know what a Ponzi scheme is? He said, yes, a person at the top makes all the money. I said, no, that's a pyramid scheme. Oh, so you didn't even know the difference between a Ponzi scheme and a pyramid scheme, never mind network marketing. So then the biggest question I asked, I said, did you know that pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes are completely illegal? And he's like, yes, you're completely illegal. I said, yeah, exactly. So here we are, a 20-year-old company in an industry that's been around for 136 years. And I said to him, also, did you know that a pyramid scheme does not have a physical product? Oh, yes. Okay, that's true. So really, if you have a look at the way of getting a product into the marketplace, that's called a distribution model, correct? Yes, that's distribution. Yes. This is just another way of distribution. So what we do instead of making all these big corporations and these fat cats multimillionaires, I said to him, this is in its purest form, redistribution of wealth and putting the money into the hands of many people instead of a few fat cats making so much money. And he said to me, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So that's the type of questions that I was like sort of feeding back to him. And all it really was just lack of understanding and lack of knowledge.
Yes, but there's something that you touched on there that's very, very important. This talk that he had was in a three-way call. And the quickest way for you to increase your posture and your belief level is to start setting up these calls with your uplines. And hearing, I mean, the learning curve that happened from that person that just gave you the number. Can you now imagine he wasn't on the call? Like nothing would have been learned there. And that
Yeah,
22
yeah,
minutes now just raised the client that you phoned and the person that arranged the call. It just went whoop. And that's the quickest way how we can get people's posture to increase. And I like doing it on Zoom because then I can show them a couple things, but I'm happy to do it in a three-way call environment as well. But the goal here is to pick people's interest, to get them excited enough so they can speak to somebody that can verbalize this properly. And that's how you can steamroll to learn your belief level and to grow your belief level and use your uplines. I personally can't help everybody in the team. But what I can tell you is if somebody comes up to me and they need help, I can very quickly find out where they are in the structure. I can get a hold of the top leader that's benefiting from that person and I connect them with them. And I say, hey, this person wants to run, set up a couple three-way calls with their people. And that's the quickest way to get traction. So again, all you need to do to get good at this is planting the seed so it grows to a point that you can connect them with a presentation or a three-way call. That is the secret to get traction quickly. I was on a training with Steve and Gina, and they do sessions with their team where they just phone people. They'll go to somebody's house and they'll sit there and they'll do the phoning for them. And that could be easily duplicated by the leaders. And then everybody learns from those conversations because that unfortunately takes time. But I love the way you handle that Ponzi aspect because it's very easy to break that because this is not what that is. And just communicating with people properly on this three-way call. Now this guy's coming in gold. He hasn't even been at a presentation. And that is as simple as it is. Engage with people properly, ask them questions, offer a solution to their problems. One point I also want to make here, people don't buy products, they buy people. it's very important, especially with what we're doing within LifeWave. It's a relationship building business, and it takes time. I go back to David Hawes, my good friend. It was one sentence and he was in. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. So, what's the goal? Speak to as many people as you can, because you will find those people that you'll literally say one sentence and they'll ask you for your link and they want to sign up. Okay, not everybody's like that, but then you put the people on a drip feed and you can either send them something once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, depending on the person or depending on how busy you are. And that for me is also very important. But the three-way calls is where the rubber hits the road, or the Zoom meetings. I mean, there's people working with us that already has a posture that's got the answers to all the questions people might have. And if you can just be good at plugging people into that, the traction happens very, very quickly.
And also, a person needs to see that LifeWave is bigger than Chris. It's
Yeah,
bigger than Wilson. It's
yeah,
bigger than Harvey. Um, we're talking about a worldwide company here, a global company in 87 countries around the world with 2.5 million brand partners. And we're like really just getting started.
yeah,
It's talking about exposure to the upline, exposure, next exposure, which is the most important thing. I see Marilise. There's such an awesome background there. Marilise from Bloemfontein. How did we meet? Um, Helen asked me to get onto a Zoom call with Marilise last week, and here's Marilise, part of our team. And this is the
yeah,
concept, because if it just stopped at Helen, then Marilise wouldn't have known about the next step and the next step and being on the group and that type of thing. And what's going to happen is when Marilise has got somebody that's interested, she's going to then go to Helen. And then Helen's going to talk to that person, because all Marilise is going to do is duplicate what Helen did with me. Because what you want to do is, I know it sounds weird, you want to get yourself out of the picture as quickly as possible in the beginning. You want to get yourself out the picture. And what I find is, I find it easier, this sounds strange, easier to talk to a stranger. So
yeah,
the dynamic completely shifts. Because, like, for example, when somebody says, Chris, can you get onto a three-way call? I love it. I love getting onto a three-way call, because there's no, let's see, preconceived, uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Judging you because they know you well. So they're thinking,
yeah,
oh, Chris, you know what? You tried this when you were younger, and you tried that. You failed at this, and you failed at that. So there's no preconceptions there when I'm talking to a stranger. They don't know me from a bar of soap, but I get to know them very well, very quickly, because
yeah,
I ask a million. People say, Chris, do you always ask so many questions? But
yeah,
you know what? That's been my nature since I was young. Always been a little question dude from a young age. Maybe my uh, curious Chris, that's just been me. I've always asked questions my whole life. So it's nothing different or weird for me. I do it completely naturally. And what I find is, when you ask questions, that's when you learn the most. That's when you learn the
yeah,
most. And then you have an interaction, and a person says, wow, that person was so amazing to talk to, because you're hearing them out. You're hearing a person out, because asking questions, let me tell you, they're going to tell you exactly what's happening in their life, and what's going wrong in their life, and how, as you're saying, Wilson, we've got the solution for everybody: mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. I mean, we've got the
yeah,
solution for everybody. Because, at the end of the day, when I was talking last week, I was talking about the word health and wealth. And, the word health and wealth, they don't sound the same and look the same by accident. It's only an H and a
yeah,
W that are the two
yeah,
letters that are different. Otherwise, the word health and wealth are literally the same, because they're intertwined, they're interconnected,
yeah,
because you can't have one without the other. Because it's one thing if you um, chasing your tail and you're working hard and you're making all this money and you're setting yourself up, but it means absolutely nothing if you don't have your health. You and I have spoken about this many times, Wilson, because we've fallen into that trap where you're chasing the money. When you stop chasing the money will start to follow you. It will follow you. When you are concerned about people and helping other people first, the money is a byproduct that will follow you naturally. And that's just a shift. So don't think, oh, I'm doing everything wrong. No, no. All it is you a degree or two out. That's all it is. It's just a degree or two. And it's just shifting. That's all it is. And just fine tuning your skill. And that doesn't happen overnight, guys. It takes a while. And you got to be patient, because I find people, we live in a drive-through breakthrough society. Everybody wants this instant gratification. And I think sometimes we just need to take a step back and just get a bit of perspective on everything.
Yes. Chris, you said something there that's also very close to my heart. You're very good at asking questions. It's actually one of the reasons why we're good mates, because we got to know each other very quickly, just because you have that skill set. And that's the quickest way to get somebody that you don't know to like you. And people don't buy products, they buy people. And if you're sincere in asking people's questions and really find out how's it going on every level, and you just flex that muscle, at some point, something's going to be mentioned where X39 is the solution. And it's very, very important. And that's a skill that it's like muscle memory. You need to practice it. So I would recommend, if you're not good at that, phone up a couple people and just start asking those three questions. How are you doing? How's everybody's health? You don't even have to talk about LifeWave. And I promise you now, if you phone 10 people and you did that, there will be 3 or 4 opportunities where they will mention something, and then it's not a coincidence that you phoned them, because LifeWave can help them with their problem. So that for me is very important. The last little bit on my video and my speech that I'll share in the group was an interview that I saw from Stephen Gina Merritt, where they were interviewed by Eric War. And Eric War is the world #1 network marketing coach. You'll see in the chats, I've actually put a video by him, which is incredible. It's called Build Your List, 5 Steps to Unlimited Prospects. It's a 14-minute video that will show you how to build your list. We didn't touch on that because tonight was communication, but please go have a look at that, because it gives you 5 ways how you can always add new people to speak to you. And then you need to apply what we've shared in the training tonight. Start engaging with people properly and start getting good at that and inviting them onto a 3-way call or a Zoom. We've got people that is highly, highly successful without doing any presentations, because they're just good at piquing the interest, getting them onto a call with somebody that can communicate this properly, and every week they are busy and they're signing people up. So the video on Stephen Gino's interview was incredible. It was an hour and 45-minute life story on where Stephen Gino came from, and I absolutely loved it. Such humble people. I'm not going to go into the full detail of it, but I was waiting for that one moment where he asked them, so, okay, how did you build your network? Now, the heading of the video is 130 directs turned into 70,000 people in 6 months. That's what caught my attention when I looked at the video. I was like, what? 130 directs, I think it was 71,000 people in 6
Yeah.
months.
Mm-hmm.
And at about an hour and 20 minutes into that meeting, he asked them how they did it. And it was so profound. All they did for 3 months was phone people. They signed up 130 directs that turned into 71,000 people in 6 months. Now, when I looked at that, I've been in the industry for a long time. That's just on another level. I mean, to grow a team that quickly, and when they asked them how did you do it, they just picked up the phone. And the beautiful thing about getting over your fear, you know, if you've spoken to your first person, it's a bit tough. The second one, it's a bit easier. The third one, you start flowing. The fourth one, you start getting good at it. After you've spoken to 10 people, you've polished what you're saying. After you've spoken to 100 people, you start getting so good at communicating this that it becomes second nature. And it was incredible to see the growth they've achieved in the time that they did by doing one thing. They just picked up the phone. Now, you can either pick up the phone and get them into a three-way call, or pick up the phone or get them into a Zoom meeting, or just pick up the phone and ask them how they're doing. But you will not get traction if you don't take action. You take action, you get traction. And it was incredible to see that story. And that for me is the most important part. I have people in my team that are scared to pick up the phone. And then I'm like, come, let's get onto a three-way call. Then they set the call up. We have a 20-minute conversation. They're like, wow, I learned so much. I will do that all day long with my people because I want to level up their belief level so they can start communicating the way I do. And that unfortunately takes time. But you can fast track your results quickly by just getting good at that first step, breaking the ice, building rapport, getting to know somebody, offering a solution to a problem, and then bam, get them into a senior consultant's call or a three-way call with them, and the deal closes itself. We are not closing people. I've signed up 26 directs. I've not closed a single one of them. Not one. Chris, how many people have you signed up? 50?
50, 54.
Have you
54.
closed a single? Have you closed one person?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Doesn't work
Nope.
like that, guys. This isn't like let me close you. That doesn't work like that. You speak to a person properly and they're in. Well, what package they come in is irrelative. I don't care if people come in at starter. If they want to rock it, let's go. But the point is, you need to start flexing this muscle and getting good at flexing this muscle and use your uplines and the senior leaders that's been at this for a year and a half and fast track this process. My goal, I want every person on this call to wear this badge for the rest of your life. That's what I want. How do we do that? By sharing this with a couple of our friends and duplicating that. So, Chris, that's pretty much all I wanted to share this evening. I think we can have very deep chats about this going forward. I ultimately want us to have a little chat with the inner circle and also get some tips from the people that's been rocking this and hearing what they've been saying to people. I think that would be a great call because there's many people that's successful with this, and it would be a great brainstorming call just on their process, what they're doing, um, because I want you guys to get traction quickly. That's my ultimate goal. The quicker you get traction, the quicker you get to a place where the patches doesn't cost you anything, and that is my objective on the business side. Yes, I do want to get you to $1,000 a week. That's going to take a bit of time. Let's just get your patches for free, and then at least I know I'm going to have more time with you because you're patching every day. That for me is very important. I know me and Chris are still going to have many years together because every month we see each other, we look a little bit younger. So yeah, it's exciting. I know I'll never stop using it. I know Chris will never either. And that's the place that I want to get people to as quickly as possible.
Completely, completely, completely. And there's just two things that I just want to finish off with is, we've covered quite a lot of really awesome stuff tonight that we've done that is like second nature for us, right? But we've been doing it for quite a while. And that's what I just want to share with people. But the biggest thing that I want to impart is the word consistency. I think that is absolutely vital. As John Maxwell says, you don't have to do Life Wave all day, but you do have to do Life Wave every day. Not all day, every day. And every day is going to be different. Every day will be different because we've got life. You might be working for a company, you've got family, you've got kids, you've got commitments, you've got this, you've got that. So every day is going to be different for everybody, right? So, you can't say to a person that's new, Wilson, you will do 2 hours every single day. No, that's unrealistic. You can do maybe 15 minutes today because that's all my day would allow me to put in. But tomorrow, guess what? I can put in 2 hours. So it's not the case of you have to put in the same amount of hours like a job. You see, because this all comes from conditioning, programming and conditioning over decades that you've got to be at work at 8. You can have a tea break at 10 till quarter past. You can have a lunch break from 12 to 1. And you can have a tea break again at 3. And guess what? We will allow you to go home at 5 o'clock because we pay you. Because we pay you, we own you. And they turn you into like a little robot. So that's how we've been programmed. So you only do this in this amount of time in this allocated box. It doesn't work like that. This is flexible. You do this in your nooks and crannies, which is so beautiful about this industry. You do it in between laugh. You do laugh wave. You do laugh wave. In between, you fill in the little gaps. In between here, in between there. But make sure you do laugh wave every day. Because don't go 3 weeks, you've done absolutely nothing, and you go, oh my goodness, I've forgotten about laugh wave. I better quickly cram it in on a Sunday night, and you go and send like 40 messages and you forget to say hello. And you just spammed 40 of your friends and they're never going to come back to you.
That just makes me gonna cry, Chris. I think that was the most important point of it all. Guys, I was not consistent with this business. And because I wasn't consistent with this business, it cost me thousands of dollars a week. Thousands of dollars. I lost focus for 6 months. George went senior presidential director in that time, and it winded me. It was something that gutted me. I couldn't sleep for a week. It was painful. And then January this year, I was like, I'm all in. I'm going to hit this out the park. And I'm all in committed. I'm going to do what the guys are doing. I'm going to stop trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to do what's working. What's happened since the beginning of January till now is unreal. It's unreal. I don't want to tell you what's happened to my earnings. I don't want to tell you what's happened in my team. But since I got to that this is it moment, I'm now going to be all in committed. Something changed in my business, in my mindset, in my posture, and the magic just started happening. And consistency, not being consistent for 6 months, cost me thousands of dollars a week. And luckily, I'm all in now. Now you can't stop me. I spit LifeWave flames like 7 days a week, and I will never stop. But do not fall in my trap. There's many shiny objects out there. There's things getting shared to people every week. Here's something that can breathe life back into people on levels that nothing in the marketplace can do. And consistency is the biggest part of this. You don't know who people know. And you might be in the business a year and a half, and all of a sudden somebody brings in somebody on your 20th level that brings 1,000 people, and that changes everything. And it would have never happened if you weren't consistent. So I think that is a very, very important point. You said you wanted to make one more. I can't wait to hear it.
You working for somebody, that's a traditional job, job, so that we know what job stands for, just over broke. That's your job. That's job. And so that you're working for somebody, you're either working with somebody. So you're working with somebody, either in a partnership traditionally, or in this industry, you're working with somebody, or you're working through somebody. So what does working through somebody means? That means that you are working in the deep, you're working in the depth. And that's what Wilson and I do. People say, how do you know? I've had this question many times. Chris, how do you know who wants to do the business? They show me. How? They put their hand up. It's,
Yeah.
it's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. And our work where the excitement is.
Yeah.
That's where our work. Our work where the excitement is, the enthusiasm, the passion, and there we go. Exactly like what Clint is saying. Work with the willing. That's it.
Yeah.
Work with the willing. And yeah, it makes me think of what's it saying? Work with the willing. Something very similar.
No,
But
Harvey said something that I love. You don't watch somebody's mouth, you watch their feet. And you can very quickly see in your back office who's the people doing stuff, and very quickly see who's the people talking about doing stuff, because it's two different things.
it's two different things
And
completely. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
two different things. And
Mm.
the beauty of what we're doing here, you can work with somebody 20 levels deep on your weaker leg, you're still benefiting. So that is very, very important. I'm working with people hundreds of levels deep down in my business because they want to run, and that's going to benefit me.
That's
And
it.
I'll rather put in 10 hours a day with somebody that's running than try and put 10 hours a day into somebody to try and get them running, if that makes any sense, because we've all been down that road as well.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish off with one saying that I want everybody to remember. It's called cut the line. It's called cut the
Ooh,
line. And you're probably thinking, what is Chris talking about here? And it's very similar to what you were just talking about now. Is where do you spend your time? Now, everybody knows what a marlin fish is. A marlin is that big fish with that big, it's got that massive fin. It's a big fish, a marlin. Now, a fisherman, this is his job. He's got to go out and he's got to fish for the day to feed his family, or he's got to sell fish to make a living. Okay. They are professional fishermen. That's what they do for a living. So I didn't know this. I found this out the other day. When a person or a fisherman catches a marlin, did you know that it can take a fisherman 12 to 14 hours to reel this fish in?
wow.
I didn't know that. 12 hours to reel one fish in. But listen to this. Did you know in the last 5 minutes of reeling this fish in, you've got a 95% chance it's going to snap and swim away. So you've just spent your whole day trying to catch this marlin with a 95% chance it's going to gone. So what happens is the fishermen know this. So what they do is when they're fishing, they very quickly know within 5 minutes, oh, we just hooked a marlin. Guess what they rather do? They cut the line right in the beginning. Right in the beginning, cut the line. Don't waste your time tugging this fish for 12 hours and it's going to end up going away. Where what you rather do is cut the line and you can catch 20 fish for the day. And guess what? You feed your family. So don't waste your time on certain people that are going to drain your energy. Cut the line and work where the energy is, work where the enthusiasm is, and work where the excitement is, because it's going to lift your frequency as well. Because as I say, sitting in a barber shop for long enough, you're bound to get a haircut. So be careful where you spend your time and who you spend your time with. That's why Wilson and I, when we talk, Jesse, we just laugh and bounce, and we like little energizer bunnies when we're together. Wilson, my brother, it's been
Absolutely love
absolute.
this, my brother.
Oh,
Thank you,
me
thank
too.
you,
Me
thank
too.
you. That's all I can say. We need to have more sessions like this with
Yes,
some of the core leaders. I
completely.
think we have such incredible leaders in our community, and having more sessions on seeing what people are doing and what's working for them is going to kick
Completely.
open doors for people. And that was the ultimate goal. And thank you for the incredible opportunity. Can't wait to do it again. And I
Too.
hope you guys got some value, and I hope this kicks open your communication door for us to get even more traction that we are getting. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, my brother. Love you lots. Love you
Love you
all.
lots, my brother. See you soon.
Okay. See you soon. Enjoy your evening,
Cheers,
guys.
everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye. Bye.